Ziggy, turn on the music.
All right, here's Spotify.
No, Ziggy. All right, hi and welcome. I am Missy. I am a lot of things, but today I am your dance helper. Today we're going to talk about, in ballroom dance, why small steps can be a problem. Now, before you all go, wait, you always tell me to take small steps. Of course, yes, that is the goal. But I'm going to explain why small steps can be a problem, and what we need them for. And hopefully this can help a lot of awkwardness come off the dance floor so you can really dance and feel good about yourself. So the small steps are necessary, right? Especially for those small floors, the floors that don't even exist, that you make yourself, maybe when you're waiting in line at Cedar Point. So small spaces with your partner, you don't have the space, right? You don't have the space to take big steps. So it's necessary to take small ones. The other big reason we want to take small steps is for your rhythm. There's no possible way, well, there is. It just doesn't look good or feel good, and it's probably not good for your body. To get body rhythm with really big steps in our partner dancing. So here's the problem. When we're first learning, and those of you who've taken from me, you've heard me say, right now exaggerate, do take big steps. And then it's easier to bring them down. Why do we go through this process? Why don't we just start with the small steps? Well, this is why. And some students are able to start with a small process because they're able to understand everything and are patient and respect the process. So if that's you, tune in, because this is going to be huge. It's like worth a lot of money, free for you, okay? Because we all need more dancers. Now listen, when you take okay, so let's take side steps. That's the easiest way to see it. If I'm taking a side step, okay, I'm going to take them really big so you can see. Yes, my steps are big, okay, but what's actually happening is I'm changing my weight. That's what a step in ballroom dance is. It is a weight change, okay? Not a semi-weight change, not just like 80% weight change. That would be like a check or something else, or a juke, if you play basketball. But it's a complete weight change, okay? Now, what happens if you haven't danced a lot and you're just learning to dance, your instructor says, okay, start taking smaller steps. Start bringing those legs in together. Well, the mind takes over and goes for convenience, right? It's like, hey, I can take those steps without moving my weight. Okay, yeah, it's moving a tiny bit, but I can pretty much stay here, right? I'm a trained dancer, so it's really hard for me to take steps without changing weight. There it is. So you keep it in the middle. And this is what happens. You do this in basketball, right? Blah. And that's when things start to feel awkward, okay? And it's because your weight isn't changing, okay? Now, when the steps get so small, yes, it's harder to change that weight because we don't have the large space for the spine to shift completely, right? So there are two main ways, I think, that you can do this through the body, and this is what creates your rhythm. Okay, so you could change your weight using your hip weight, boom, 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 or you could use it using your rib cage, okay? Now, traditionally, if you're a male or a lead, we do more rib cage, okay? There's reasons for that. Traditionally, if you're female or a follow, you're going to do more hip action, okay? Now, pick what feels good for you. Because honestly, it's all about feeling it. And in order to learn to dance, you gotta feel it. So pick what works for you first, and then you can always change up your dancing, later on for you and how you want it to look. Okay, so let's look at the rib cage, all right? This might take some time to learn, but basically put your hands on your hips, and you wanna pretend like somebody's put a corset on down here. So really tighten your abs way down here, and then you wanna try to loosen up here, which is what? Anyways, you're gonna put your arms out to the side, and without overthinking, reach for the wall. Okay, reach for it. Like really reach all the way through the fingertips. Reach. Make sure when you're reaching, you're going straight across and that you're not going down. That's with the arms up. Because you want the rib cage to actually shift over top of your hips. And now I could take my foot up, right? And you could see my weights there. Okay, but if I shift it back in the middle, see what happened? It came in the middle. So we can do that on the other side too, right? Now, if you're having a hard time finding this, I will be posting videos in the future, and you can find one of those videos for exercise and how to loosen this all up and get it going, okay? So that's the first way. So what we do here, and we go back to our big steps. Now, instead of just stepping with your feet, you're gonna actually move from your rib cage, right? So you take your rib cage over. And that makes your weight go onto that foot. It obviously picked up my other foot. I'm gonna shift my rib cage over, woo! Right, and now I'm falling with style. Yeah, I'm shifting my weight and then catching myself with my feet, okay? Gracefully. All right, so that's one way, through the rib cage. The second way is through the hip weight, like I mentioned, okay? So now what we do is we put our feet together. And what I'm gonna have you do is kind of pretend like you've been waiting in line forever, and you just go big inhale and exhale. On the exhale, allow your hip weight to shift to one side. Normally, what happens all naturally without overthinking it is you'll straighten one leg more and bend the other. Okay, if this doesn't happen, then you can go ahead and just think about it. Straighten into the one leg and bend the other. Straighten leg will receive that hip weight, and look, woo, balance, right? Because I've got some weight shifted over here, and this has stayed over here to counterbalance, okay? So we can do that to the other side. You can hold this if you want to get your hip over there that way. If you want to, you could do it that way too. Actually, you don't have to bend when straighten. You could do it the swing version, right? Just swinging your hips to the side, kind of like we did with the rib cage, but we do with the hip, right? So we swing the hip over, and then look, it took the weight off this foot, and we have our weight change, okay? So now if we start with those big steps again, right? Instead of moving my head like this, I'm gonna move my hips, which is hard to do starting from a big position. So I'm gonna bring in my legs a little bit, and I'm just gonna pick my right here, and I'm gonna swing my hip over, right? Now I'm going to move my hip to the other foot, and to the other foot. And I know it looks kind of ridiculous, right? But when you add some poise and control to it, it turns into your Cuban motion, to your body rhythm, to your little plays and your pops and your locks, all that stuff. So that is it. Small steps can be a problem. Why? Because people aren't actually changing their weight. They're march dancing or foot stepping. You know, foot dancing is kind of what we call it. Okay, in order to get the dancing to come out of the feet and all the way up into the body, you have to make sure that when you're taking those steps, you're changing your weight. Whether it's a tiny, 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 tiny just spine change, which is cool, but it's definitely not as fun as adding the hips or the ribs, which you would use appropriately for whichever dance you're dancing, right? For example, merengue. I'm learning to dance, I promise. It's so much fun. It's not awkward at all. Yeah, no, put your hip into it instead. This, I think, looks way better for a first timer, right, than this. Okay, just be careful that, because you're gonna start feeling the music, that you don't overdo it, because you can like overthrow your hip, right? So make sure there is some control, right? That you let the music move you, but you don't just completely collapse into your weight changes, okay? Always dance with your safety first in mind. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you follow me, subscribe for more tips. I really want to share everything with the community, really build up your confidence here, and so that we can dance freely with each other whenever we want, or by ourselves, you know. But that wraps it up. I think that's all I have to say for the small steps. Yes, they're necessary, but what's necessary inside them is the small weight change. All right, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe.